Okay, take two. Anyway, we are live
Take
again.
two. We are live.
We're live,
We're
and we
live.
have live people in the background.
So you know that this is a very busy little place.
Mm-hmm.
It's in use.
It is.
Yes. Yes, little old St. Luke's Mission in
So
Southern Virginia. Y'all, I'm sorry. I'm so glad I'm here.
Rather than up north.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
What do you think about the Muslim that's running for mayor of New York? Isn't that interesting?
The socialist
Mm-hmm.
who comes from, I was listening to Megyn Kelly's little podcast about him. He's rich. He comes from a rich family, no matter what he happens to profess. And I don't understand. They're always ready to give everybody else's money away, but they have a lot of their own.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I watched Joe Rogan talk to Bernie Sanders.
Oh, there's another one.
And here recently and stuff, and it was like, well, and he was asking him pertinent questions and stuff, and
how much money do
Bernie,
you have?
Well, and Bernie was just like, on some of the things that was being asked, it was like he didn't have
I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. Yeah, another one.
Or it threw him and stuff, because Bernie made off okay, and he has houses and money and stuff too.
Yes.
He's not giving everything he has and living a destitute life. So
no, no, not at all.
So there's several things just before we start. So there's Alligator Alcatraz that I love.
Oh, yes.
I think that is one of the best decisions, and I think it's a fun decision.
Yep.
And then I think that and hopefully the House now will go back through the bill and chop out some things, because there were some things that should not have been in there. Like we should not be having Medicaid for illegals. I'm not for that.
There
Illegals,
are people
no.
squawking about that.
Well, let them squawk.
Because this happened after the election, when one young woman, a young couple, capable, not working at all, just living on government money.
But if you're illegal, you should not get any of our benefits.
No.
You shouldn't be entitled to anything.
No.
So to me, that is automatic acts.
Yep,
and if you're not for that, then you have issues as it is. So these people, I'm going to put it out there myself. Anybody that's out there voting for all this other garbage, I hope you do not get reelected midterm. I don't care if you're Republican, Democrat, Independent, whatever. You shouldn't get elected.
I agree.
Because we're trying to trim the fat, and plus this is not right to give our tax-paying money to people who have not earned it. When we have people that are homeless and living under, I'm sorry, no. So that's my little, I really don't like that.
I agree.
And maybe you ought to go to Alligator Alcatraz, because to me, you're not standing up for America.
And I heard that he is appointing specific immigration judges to handle quickly everything. And I think a lot of them are in Florida.
Okay.
So
I love Ron DeSantis.
Oh, I do too.
I mean, did you see how quickly he got it up and running? It's got a motor around it, a one-way in, and an airplane that'll go out. I love it. Alligator Alcatraz. I want a hat like that, or a shirt.
I'm telling you,
I think it's so funny. I love it. I love it. All right, so you've been researching and reading this week too, right?
Well, yes, and you gave me a couple of podcasts. I didn't listen to the whole thing. I had them in my ears.
Like I said, they take a while.
Yeah, but once I got the gist of the two of them, and the interview with the Taiwanese president.
Was she president or vice president? Either way, it doesn't matter.
She was president. But
either way, she's very intelligent.
She was raised in the United States. I mean, she's got her education from here.
And you can tell she's very,
oh my gosh.
She's very, I mean,
intelligent, super intelligent, and very cognitive of the situation that little island is in, because they are producing the microchips
that our world runs on.
That the world runs on. The best ones in the world, too. And they have the highest investment in the United States. They're investing in, I was over $1 billion of industry for this micro technology in the United States.
Well, and that's going to be very important because, and we're going to need that. And then if you listen, so what she listened to was, if you ever can pull up Sean Ryan,
Yes.
he does an excellent interview. They're very in depth, so they're very long.
They're long.
Sometimes they can be an hour and a half, 2 hours, sometimes 3 hours, depending on who he's speaking to. But he gets to the in depth. He asks questions that we would ask if we were sitting there talking to somebody.
So you understand the answers.
Understand the answers,
Yes.
and get to the. But he also gets background. He gets a lot of different information, but Sean Ryan, he has some great podcasts. So one of the other podcasts that I listened to was, talking about, how these chips have to be made in such a clean environment. I mean, very
Sterile.
very sterile.
Yes.
And, but anyway, so they are looking, and they are working on building stuff here in America, and we need that because of some of the stuff you learn.
Well, and the other thing, this artificial intelligence, if you develop that, you're going to need this.
And it's already there. So.
It's already there.
And so many people are wanting to replace it or use the artificial intelligence for all.
So you're going to have to advance all of this stuff, and you need this background right away.
And our car chips, everything that we do now runs on chips. We're using microphones that have a chip. They say we're using computers that have chip. My phone is having a chip. I mean, everything. Sometimes I get a chip, but it's on my shoulder, and
I'm waiting for them to put it in my hip and my two knees, and I'll just walk on their own. I just push the button, and the chips will go.
Well, and it's very likely could happen.
Well, see, oh man, there's just so much. So that was interesting in the perspective of this little country that needs protecting.
Yes, because and that's
they're a democracy.
And they don't want China taking over. The world doesn't need China taking over, because there's also, which I didn't realize, was the Taiwan Strait.
Yes, the Strait of Taiwan.
The straightest, and so I didn't even realize about that, because if China takes over Taiwan, they can take over that, which is another way for ships.
Trade route. It's a major trade route.
Yes.
And if they take over that, then granted, there's probably other ways of getting around, but more dangerous.
More dangerous, but also and probably lengthier, costly.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, we have these trade routes because they make things
fastest point
from one
distance,
to make it
to the other,
right, to get goods back and forth. But yeah, it's very, very interesting.
Well, that sort of goes along with a couple of things that I read about a lot of this electronic stuff that comes out of China.
Mm-hmm.
Having little microchips in there so that they're tracking us. Mm-hmm. And how do you know that? How do you know that would happen? You don't know. I said, gee, because everything you get electronically, a lot of it comes from China in the parts.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I know that our new little battery or generator, I'm sure that most of that came from China.
Mm-hmm.
And all the batteries in it came from there,
Yeah, and that's where we get it. So if we can become, dependent on other, or get, at least make to where we can have other places that can do it. But one of the interesting things, did you get it? Did you get to that point where there's only 11 countries that are supporting Taiwan?
Oh, I didn't.
Yeah, only 11 countries, because I guess people don't want to go up against China.
They're afraid,
and China will threaten to cut off. I guess I'm assuming, that this is how China would probably say, "Hey, well, we're not going to send you this anymore, or we're not going to purchase from you anymore and stuff." So, and that's why it's really important for us to have more trade open up with other people.
That sort of leads me indirectly to. Since we met the last time, our president has gone in and taken care of issues in Iran.
Mm-hmm.
And I know some people probably say, oh, it's in a war. If you look at the world right now,
mm-hmm.
I think it's a safer place.
Yes.
Because somebody has taken the initiative and saying, no.
Yes. I mean,
you are not going to do this. And there are countries that really respect that fortitude and the courage to go and do something like that. Mm-hmm. And I'm wondering in the long run, if this little country of Taiwan may see that this is an advantage for them too. You see what I'm saying? Because they have very close ties with us.
They do. Yes.
Very close ties with us. And we would be negligent if we didn't continue and help them as much as we can.
They're limited on. I mean, they can't take
It's a
on
little
China by
island.
themselves,
It's a little island. I mean,
and they can't stop the whole trade. I mean, if they were to go into the trade route and stuff. So yes, I feel like Taiwan is one of those places we really do need to protect.
Yes.
For so many different reasons, because you think about it, if they cut off the chips,
we are sunk.
Yeah, it's going to be, yes.
So really, it's really important that we look after this little country and we see what's happening.
Yes.
You know? And I think, as far as I'm concerned, that, somebody said, well, I hope we don't have to go to war. I'm like, we're not at war.
No, I mean, what he did not put us at war. War is declared by Congress and stuff, but what he did was he showed strength. And he followed through what he said.
That's right.
Because Iran does not need these. They do not need nuclear power or nuclear capabilities.
I saw a podcast on I believe, a previous ambassador from Iran. And he said, now we must remove the government right now in Iran. Otherwise, we're going to be right back to where we were.
Well, but I did like that Trump said that, and Trump's regime. I mean, they are not in for regime change. That's something that the people inside need to do it.
They need to do
it.
We
were not there to do that.
Nope,
we were there to take out that capability.
But these people need to.
No, they need to. Yes,
they need to. And they need to change it because otherwise, you might as well be talking to a block of wood. They're going to continue to really do this. The war's been going on for years. Just read your Bible. It is. And, it's very interesting. So that's sort of tied in the microchips and worrying about what's coming into our country. And that was a good article that you gave us. And then, of course, you had the cloud seeding one that was also good. But just as an afterthought, they have stopped. We just talked about China and maybe they have their little chips in all of our electronic things so they can monitor us. And they have stopped some Chinese infiltrators coming in that are trying to destroy our food crops. They've stopped them. They've caught them. I saw where they just arrested 2 Chinese nationals for other stuff. Now, what makes this scary to me is China owns some of our food processing plants here.
And you really should be looking into that.
Where
you're getting your food and stuff from.
Major ones. They didn't buy some Podink company. They put money out and bought big name Smithfield, Hellman's. And Hellman's, I forget what's the parent company, but I mean, they make a lot of food products. And yet they're trying to come in and destroy our food crops. So these are things we have to look after.
We do. There's a lot of things that we need to look after and as far as this goes. And the cloud seeding one, the podcast with the cloud seeding was very interesting to me because it's...
and we talked about that before.
We've been talking about it, and the place, the company, the guy that Sean Ryan interviewed is from Rainmaker, and he went into details of, and he's a really young guy, but he was really sharp and
Augustus Doricko. I put his name down.
And he's very sharp and intelligent.
25 years old.
But has this technology that can go up there and and help produce rain for areas especially in the West and stuff.
Well, I was listening to it, and I as soon as you said cloud seeding, I'm like, yes, all about it, because the man who originated in 1946 and started cloud seeding is Dr. Vincent Schaefer, and out of New York, and he worked for General Electric. And so as soon as I said, oh, yay, because we had talked about that before, I really listened to this young man. He was so good. And I thought I really liked the thought that he had here about glaciers. And there was one, was it a glacier? Was it in Switzerland that broke off and buried a town? Now, to make a glacier, it's compacted snow. You start out with snow. That's what you start out with. And there's just so much of it. It gets compressed and compressed and compressed and melts and freezes, and it ends up becoming a glacier. Sort of think of like if we took ash or soot and we put pressure on it and heat or whatever, it becomes a diamond. Okay. So you keep compacting the snow, it becomes a glacier. And what I loved about his thought is snow compacting to actually make it snow on the glaciers so that they don't deteriorate and fall and shrink. I'm like, wow, that is a really, so in a way you can control a lot of things like that.
Well, he is a Christian, so he's trying to think of it from a positive side.
Yeah.
But they did get to the side where it weaponized and stuff, and that how it was used in Vietnam, and that right now they're not supposed to use it for weaponization. But if the good guys have it, the bad guys have it, and the guy and I'm sitting here, I'm one of those ones that believe that if the bad guys have it, they're not doing legally.
It's sort of like gun control.
You're going. My mind exactly was where my mind was going. It's like, I'm sorry. The bad guys, if they have this technology, they're doing it for evil, and they're not going, oh, was we supposed to report that? Or were we not supposed to do that? Oh, really?
I need a license for this? No.
So, no, I mean.
I own a gun. I'm a bad guy, too.
So, no, I know that he's like a good guy, but there's nothing in my mind that doesn't tell me bad guys aren't trying to do something with it.
Yeah. It's like, okay, we're going to inundate them with a flood.
Or something else, who knows? I mean, to me, I was thinking about this because I was listening to this around the same time that they had that summer snow out in Montana. I think it was where they got almost 2 feet of snow. I mean, in Montana in June, early June. I was like, what? Yeah, because I was like, that does not make any sense.
Somebody went, oops. Yeah, I mean, you had to have the right conditions. And, well, the thing is, when they stopped the cloud seeding many years ago, it was because they were afraid, okay, we want it to rain here, but you took our water. You know what I mean? It sucked this moisture from one place and took it to another. But what he said is they were mostly doing it on the arid and areas in the West. And the other thing that you brought up and mentioned, and I want to make sure I mention this too, is that he's a Christian. And I believe I heard him say he grew up in a family of atheists.
Yes. If I'm not mistaken, that was yes.
I believe that's what he said. And he went to Berkeley. And he majored in physics. And it was a physics teacher that sort of enlightened him.
And challenged him and made him think. And I have often said and told about this video that my colleague who taught physics had, and it was a lighthouse, and we've talked about this before. And if you study physics is math, and it governs a lot of things, everything, energy, gravity. You talk about physics. And in this lighthouse, as you walk up, okay, gravity. Oh, we can explain gravity. There's one light. We figured that out. And another little window. If you've ever seen a lighthouse, they have little windows as you go up the steps because it gives you the light for the steps. Okay, so you're walking up and you see these little windows and like, gee, I wonder how that works, and we can figure that out. Wonder how the solar system, we can figure that out. But when you get to the top and that big bright light,
creation.
Mm.
How do you can't explain that.
Mm-hmm.
You can't explain that. And when he said his physics professor, obviously this gentleman presented it in that manner, is that we can't explain everything.
Mm-hmm.
We can't explain everything. And unless you believe there's got to be a higher power, and for us,
Mm-hmm.
we believe in God and we're Christians and Jesus, and he's up there on the shelf behind us. And so we do believe that. And he was baptized in 2021.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was really wonderful that he brought that up and he mentioned I am a Christian and not afraid to say it.
No, because he talks about in this thing, he talks about how cloud seeding was like number 2 to becoming a Christian of the most exciting things that he's done, or the major things that he's done in his life. That's most impactful and stuff. And so he wants to be, he does want to use it for good and to help like arid places and help people and so it is very interesting.
He's only 25.
I know there's so much more and he was talking about, just what's going to come in the next 10 years and stuff. It's going to be amazing.
It'll be interesting to remember his name.
Yes.
Because he may be another Elon Musk in the making. He may be. Because, he's already in his thoughts. And he's just doing cloud seeding right now, but goodness knows. And he never finished Berkeley. He just quit.
No, because he went down to Texas and he got busy doing something else. And then he got into this. And anyway, so it's just.
He formed a company with another gentleman and it had to do with water. And this is what got him onto this cloud seeding. And those were 2 really good podcasts that you sent me that I watched. I listened. Because I was busy.
I usually put my earbuds in and I'm busy doing while I'm listening because it's a lot. And some of it I'll have to go back and re-listen because it's like, wow, because some of it gets pretty deep.
Yes, I didn't, I'll be honest, I didn't listen to the whole thing because then somebody came to visit and pick blueberries and I had my ear things in, and I've got to get new ones. My ears are funny because I can't, they won't stay in. They keep popping out.
Now see, I've got the ones that go over.
Well, I've got
so
those
they hang
too.
on. So they hang on.
I could do that too. I had the one around my neck and in my ears.
But anyway, so a lot of good information. But if you do get a chance, it's Sean Ryan, and go check out. He's got so many different kind of podcasts and so many different people he interviews, and it's very interesting. And I've listened to several people that he's talked to and stuff, and from Vietnam, from people that were in Vietnam to people that have. And there are several other ones too that I've listened to, but anyway, to me, they're also interesting because I love the background that he does on them. And, anyway, I just think he's very interesting.
Well, those are 2 very good ones. And
there's one that I wanted to get to, and I think he's done the interview with. It's the people that are in Texas that have, that they're going up into space now.
Oh,
and they're up there making because I think this guy was telling us, Augustus was telling us that the new technology and everything going up into space and making things up there because it's going to be a lot less. It's like a vacuum up there, so it's a lot cleaner. It's a sterile environment. So making these chips might be actually made better up there. So anyway, it's just interesting.
And sometimes, if you look at this, because it's also weightless, you're not fighting against the gravity and the pull and all of that. So there's a lot.
Yeah, there's so many things with technology in the next 10 years that there's no telling where we're going to be at.
I know. And I just think about 50 years ago, we didn't have cell phones. I can remember my husband and I saying, we never use a card to do our banking. Not ever gonna happen. Now, guess what? If I carry $20 with me, that's a lot.
Well, some places won't take cash anymore.
No,
So, and it just is crazy. You're in a different world.
And they're
I mean,
eliminating
when I
the
went, I told,
pennies, so-
I said before, when I went to some of these ball games and the soccer games, they wouldn't take cash. You had to use your card to get in. I'm like, what?
That
I had
was-
to go back to my car and get my card because I'm like, here, it's just, but anyway, that's the way it was. So yeah, the world forces you to change on some things sometimes. And some things that, we're going to buck on and we're going to go up against, but some things I think you're just going to have to.
Hey, look at our cars. If they think we're not driving well, they tell us to take a break.
Well, my grandson sent me a picture the other day where he was out visiting and stuff. And he sent me this video and, I said, is that one of those like Uber type things? And he said, well, they call them Waymos. And I said, well, Wayno for me. It was one of them driverless cabs. And I said, no, Wayno for me. Heck to the no for me. No, I'm not. I haven't gotten that far yet.
Hey,
it was backing up and getting them in a spot and everything.
I just ordered a dash cam. So I can put it in the front and the back. Now, here's the thing that I don't understand, and I said this when we're working out. We've got all these cameras in our vehicles that, you're too close. There's somebody coming too fast. There's somebody over here. Why can't we have a chip that just keeps recording everything?
Is that what you want? Is that what you're doing it for?
Actually, yes. Because a dash cam, it has it on and it records all your trips.
Okay.
So you get to see everything in front of you, everything behind you.
So you're going to share your trips with us sometime?
Oh, that would be fun. But see, I saw that really rare fox, and I have no way of proving that because I don't have a dash cam.
Okay, see?
I give nothing
There
to
we
my,
go.
Nothing to my madness.
Yeah, I figured there was something in there. Okay. All right, guys. Well, that's it for, I guess, today.
Yes, and we were
And
busy.
happy 4th of July.
Oh, yes.
Yes. I mean, there's some people out there saying they're not going to celebrate with it. Then you just need to go on and get on the airplane down at Alligator. Alligator Alcatraz. There'll be a plane and there's some beds down there waiting. Because if you don't want to celebrate America, you don't need to be here.
No.
That's just my personal opinion because we are a great country and we feel so blessed to be here and so thankful. And God bless America.
Yes.
And everybody have a happy 4th.
Happy 4th. Yay. We're done.